Welcome everyone, we are live on location at the MSP Expo in Fort Lauderdale, sponsored by the Managed Service Provider Association of America. I'm Michael Bakaich from Cyber Confidential, your host for this live recording with Brian Shu from AIT. Brian, great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Give us the backstory. Where are you from in the country, and why'd you come to the show?
Well, so AIT is a local MSP from Appleton, Wisconsin originally. We service everywhere from Green Bay to Appleton and the northeast Wisconsin area. Been around since 1998, started as kind of a one-man show and have grown now to a team of over 25 and offer MSP security services and try to have a focus in the medical area and really kind of be that supplement to their IT department, IT team.
What was life like 27 years ago in IT when you started this?
Oh, it was a little different. Nothing was connected, there was no internet, and it was all just plug and play and hope it worked.
How many Pentiums were you on in 1997?
Gosh.
Was this pre-Pentium?
Oh no, it was Pentium. That was
This was the
Pentium
first one. They were
the first
breaking
Pentium, the Pentium 100s.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic. Dial-up.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Dial-up and plug-in sound cards and the whole shebang.
Floppy disk.
Oh yeah.
Floppy disk. What other people think is the save button used to be a way to transfer information.
Installing Windows with 20 floppy disks, if you can relate to that. Yeah.
Sweet. And what got you into the business?
Actually, it was just kind of a love for technology. It was I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the camaraderie and the helping people, right? The appreciation that the customer and the person looking at you says, "Wow, you really fixed my problem. You put me at a different level. Did me a lot of favors today. I appreciate that." So that's what I appreciate the most about what we do.
What were you doing beforehand?
Oh, I was 14 years old. I was milking cows, to be honest with you. Yeah. I've been doing
beer
it a
and
long
cheese
time.
in Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Nice.
milking cows.
Okay, so this was like people were doing paper routes, and you were getting into computers. At 14 and 97, you're riding the wave of technology.
Oh yeah.
So you were 17, a business owner, facing Y2K. What was that like?
Oh, it was crazy. You know, I was at the time still in high school, and there I was trying to help, if what's real, what's not, what's all hype, and then we all woke up the next day and life went on.
Can you remember I remember where I was? I remember I was a young nerd at the time. I was only a few years younger than you at the time. I remember the New Year's Eve party and the parents. It was my parents' New Year's Eve party. The parents were watching the countdown, expecting the lights to turn off and stuff. What are your memories about that? Because you were hands deep in the tech there.
Well, yeah, I was still very young. Quite honestly, at that point, I think I was 14, 15, 16, something like that. I was very young at that point. So, I was born in '83, so I was 16, 17 at that time. I was just, hanging out with friends.
But a business owner. You were operating a business.
No, I didn't own a business at that point. I was just working in IT.
Okay.
Yeah, working for another small local IT company, building computers.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was your origin story. And when did AIT come about?
So I've been with AIT almost 12 years now. I started, it's a friend of mine's company. He brought me in and started talking about, some of the problems that he was having in his business and some of the experiences that I had having already worked for a couple of other small local providers. He kind of brought me in and said, looking for some help on the tech side and really help grow my business, and where do we kind of steer the ship from here and take it to the next level. And so I was his third full-time engineer, and we've grown to 25 now, so it's come a long way in 12 years.
Nice. That you're getting past the bulk majority of MSPs, because the stat floating around is that 80% of MSPs are 10 employees or less.
Okay.
So you're breaking past that. You're in the top 20% of everyone here.
Nice. Well, it's definitely fun. We're starting to finally focus and figure out some of those niches that...
Right, tell me about that. You said healthcare is the main focus.
So healthcare is something that we've really started to focus on because we've found that we bring the most value there, right?
Okay.
We've got one instance, for example, recently a partner company brought us, we were working with them kind of a little bit here and there, and the CEO called us up and said that their head of IT was leaving along with their application specialist, and they didn't know what to do. She said, I'm losing all my IT knowledge. I don't know what my team is going to do. They had 200 endpoints, 150 users, and she knew full well you're not going to hire a head of IT and train them in a couple weeks. It just doesn't happen. So they realized very quickly that they needed some supplement to that internal IT department. So we've kind of specialized and helped them along the way. We walked in and worked with the old IT provider to absorb as much knowledge as we could. Took over their IT operations as he left, and was able to kind of steer the ship and head them in the right direction. They're able to bring on just a kind of an entry-level application specialist to help them, as opposed to bringing on that application specialist and a head of IT. So they've really cut their IT budget down dramatically, and also mitigated a ton of risk. They're not going to lose that knowledge if those individuals leave. They've got resources at their disposal. It's a phone call to bring more people in or more help, and they've got a much deeper help desk. Hard to imagine comparing us to a two-person help IT team. It just there's a lot more resources there.
Yeah, that level of resiliency, people like you and I appreciate that, but oftentimes the small business on the other side of the conversation doesn't appreciate it. They see you as just trying to convince them to give you their business.
Right.
But there's substantial resiliency. You are just the tinks with 24 diverse skill sets versus, and let's just say it's for the same price, versus one human being.
Whoever that one person is.
With their, like, they might have a myriad of skills, but they're just still one human being that still needs vacation time and still may not write enough documentation, and may change positions later. So how do you get that across proactively?
Well, so in a lot of cases, it's when they realize in this scenario, right? All of a sudden they realize, oh shoot, what do I do? Or you go in as an MSP and you start asking questions that the CEO can't answer, and I've heard it in classes here. In a lot of cases, the CEO has an automatic bias against that internal staff. They don't always trust everything that's being said because they don't know what they don't know. And that's why they tend to look at us as a third party. We do an outside vulnerability test to show them, hey, this is what you got. Take it or leave it. This is how to fix it. You can bring internal resources or you can bring external resources. Either way, you got to check the box.
How do you find that lands with the internal IT person? Like, I could see that hitting their ego.
Oh yeah. So in fact, this exact scenario, there was a little bit of trepidation from that internal IT where he wasn't excited about bringing in that extra staff, and I absolutely can understand that. But when the CEO starts to realize that not one person, no one person can be everything to everybody, no matter which way you go, no matter what you're doing. I don't have all the expertise that my guys have, and so to be able to just show that and show that there are more resources available, that's how it bodes well.
Right on. All right, when we were doing the prep, you told me a story about how you have your disaster recovery backup community, right? There are many small business owner and a couple technicians. Business owner sometimes needs to take a vacation, and that's the little community you've created. Tell us about that.
And we all started out that way, right? So like you said, as much as I didn't necessarily own my own business at 14, 15, I was helping people out, doing what I can.
You're on the BBS.
Exactly, yeah. Right?
Everyone could look that up. What's the BBS?
Yeah, what's a BBS?
Bulletin something service.
Bulletin board service.
Bulletin board service.
Bulletin board service.
Before Reddit was a thing, kids, look up the BBS.
Or online gaming. That was the online gaming. Click, click, click. I'm moving now. So no, But so we've got this unique kind of community of smaller, say MSPs, but say individuals or one or two man shows where they don't necessarily have the resources of the bigger IT companies, or they need additional resources, be it vacation, right? We talked about that. Guy's got to go on vacation. He wants to be able to know that his cell phone isn't going to be ringing while he's out on the lake or on the golf course, right? In that case, we're able to come in, take whatever documentation they have, or help them with that if need be, and be able to be that second set of hands. We find that happening a lot for smaller IT providers, and then providers who are ready to retire. We're able to kind of help them absorb their clients and make sure their clients are taken care of.
I find like just like the condition where you had to co-manage with someone internal and you're trying to augment them, there was ego there. I could see how there's ego in this too. How do you navigate that in the conversation to show that you're trying to be collaborative here?
Yeah.
Like you might need backup. You know they'll probably need backup. How do you approach that so that it's not like two rams bashing heads?
Absolutely. So we do. I mean, we offer references to the people that we work with, right? So we very much approach it from a collaborative standpoint, the same way we were approaching call when you need help. So we're just that extra resource for you. We're not interested in stepping on toes. We've got enough business. We don't need to be stepping on toes and burning bridges. We want to make sure the clients and the community's taken care of, really.
Nice. Is this an active part of your growth strategy?
The medical side of it is, right?
Yeah.
That's really our focus. The helping other IT companies is just kind of one of those things where we found ourselves being able to supplement that. It wasn't necessarily something that we're focusing on and pushing. However, because that's a small and pretty tight-knit community too, they talk to each other and say, hey, by the way, I'm working with AIT over here. They're able to really help me out. I took a vacation last week. I didn't get one in 20 years.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right, so tell us more about healthcare. What specifically in healthcare? Like you doing chiro, you doing physio, dental?
So the partner that we just brought on has 3 dental clinics, a primary care clinic, and then their corporate headquarters. So 5 locations, 200 endpoints, 150 users plus. It's really running the gamut from the end user support all the way back through their HIPAA compliance and patch management. They're actually right now with a larger conglomerate in the area, and they have expressed an interest in kind of moving certain services away from them, as has the conglomerate. They don't want them as that affiliate necessarily. The affiliate is asking for things that they don't necessarily do, and we're able to provide those extra services for them that maybe their rigid healthcare systems aren't providing locally.
Oh, okay. This is going to be the most valuable answer that you give, because I know people are tuning in to this. So, dental in the MSP world, dental's the flip-flop between I love dental and it works for me, or I will never do dental. It's drawn blood from the stone. Efficient operations, because and don't say dentists are cheap, because that's the cop-out. Every industry is cheap. No industry's throwing money
right,
away.
100%.
Okay? Every industry is cheap.
Yep.
So how do you structure the operations to be efficient enough to deliver the value, and how do you position it to solve the problem that the dentists have, so that these two parts of the operation work for you?
Right, so in a lot of cases, the dentist, that patient experience is huge, right? They want to know the patient's taken care of, that the patient's not going to be inconvenienced from one point to the other. Starts with obviously making sure their infrastructure is in good shape, but even so far as going to sit down with them and understand where are your hurdles, where are you having problems, where do you want to see things improve. And a couple of dentists, for example, have said, we need a new patient form system, and we need to be able to automate this and streamline this. And so we can bring all of that to them, because we've got those extra resources that some of the smaller providers don't.
See, I like your answer, Brian, because you talked about the dentist problems.
Oh, yeah.
I've asked a lot of MSPs that, and they talk about, well, I'm going to sell them this, and they need this type of Microsoft license, and these are supply side. You're talking about the demand. Like, what do the dentists need? How do they operate their practice? That's good. That's the healthy way to think.
Yep.
All right, beautiful. We are live on location at the MSP Expo here in Fort Lauderdale. This live show has been sponsored by the MSP Association of America. I'm here with Brian Shu from AIT. Brian, great to have you.
Much appreciated.
Love hearing your story. Thanks everyone for joining us. Tune in.